Sinhala, English, Tamil, all of that fine, just no rakata takata. And I was like, what? It's like, no rakata takata music.
We welcome you this evening for screenings and panel discussion. Papara Klang.
I hated the idea when my schoolmates used to say, oh, you play the papara. And I said, no, I play the cornet and the trumpet, I don't play the papara.
මේ ලංකාවේ සංගීත කලාවන් ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. මේ කලාවන් වල යම්කිසි පිරිසක් එකකට කැමති, තව පිරිසක් තව එකකට කැමති. අපේ කලාවට කැමති පිරිසක් ඉන්නවා, බීට්රූට් කලාවට කැමති පිරිසක් ඉන්නවා, ඒ කලාවන් වලට කැමති පිරිසක් ඉන්නවා. එතකොට ඒ කැමති පිරිස තමයි ඒ අනිත් අය වැදගත්.
I feel the whole idea of me coming here today is to see what one is trying to do and to take it forward.
This comes from like personal realization of how and why Sri Lankan music in general is not on a global stage. Maybe this can be a thing that we sort of put out to get comments from everyone.
ඉන්න අය බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ මේ ලංකාවේ තාරිණී කරුණ ඒ මෙලඩිය තමයි බලාපොරොත්තු. එතකොට අපි ඒක විකාශ කරන්න ගියොත් අපිට මේ කියන වැඩ ටික නැති වෙනවා. ඉතින් අපි ඒක නිසා ඔඩියන්ස් එකට අපි ඉන්න අයට යාර බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන දේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. යාර අපි නිලෝ වෙනස් දෙයක් ඒ දෙක සූදානම්. යාර. එතකොට මේක හැමෝම ඒකට කැමති නෑ කියලා මම හිතනවා.
Everything you hear about it is a copy of a international Hindi diary, which one bottle or a single song.
I really disagree, and I think that all art is not perfect and all art is not static, so I'm like really excited to see where it all goes.
My personal experience is that I think where something like this might get promoted might be under the sort of label of world music.
For the jazz bit, I actually felt when I was watching it that I was listening to something special and exciting. I really appreciate the comments from Nuwan and Smoothie.
Do you reckon that infusing jazz and other genres into Papara would kill it or kill that authenticity in Papara?
No. I mean, I try not to think of cultures as frozen, and that, you know, there's a point at which, like, the documentary explodes, right? That name, even the term Papara, according to research, only arrives in the 90s, despite bands having existed since the 50s. And then you have these cultural influences and different stories actually about its origin.
I think the reason why Sri Lankan music is not out there is because Sri Lanka as a country doesn't spend on art and culture, like exporting art and culture. And I don't mean this in a complaining way. I don't think we are in a position to do so. I don't think we'll do that for the next decade. So I think it's, well, if we realize this fact, I feel like it's, we might kind of, it's not like we have, as musicians, I'm not sure if we need the popular music or these musicians to sort of get to another level, to get to that international global stage.
So I feel like this is something of a stepping stone to kind of explore what it means to center it. Like, I'd be very fascinated to see a performance like of these different configurations that we saw the first documentary and the second one. I feel like I'm more excited about the idea of it being at least first in like Sri Lanka, we had to platform it, right? And that goes back to also just not in terms of what we export, even in terms of like what we offer ourselves and tourists hardly really explores the musical landscape of the island. No?